Mothman is my son.
Please say more during the interview because I'm going to need that story. I just don't want
There's
to
no
waste it now.
there's no story. He's just my son. Hi, I'm Maddie.
And I'm Abigail, and this is
Two writers.
Many Wrongs. Paige Lavoie writes stories about misfits, monsters, and falling in love. She's always been drawn to the cutesy side of spooky, which you can see in her work on titles such as I'm in Love with Mothman and Our Own Little Underworld. As an Orlando local, Paige loves exploring her city, and the city loves her back, with Orlando Weekly naming her as part of the top 3 local authors for 2022. When Paige isn't writing, she can be found hunting for treasures at the local antique mall and sipping oat milk lattes under a lacy parasol as she hides from the sun. Well, thank you so much for coming and
Yes.
talking to us. We had interviewed Taylor, and she sang your praises, of course. But I am an Orlando local, so it's just really nice, like touching base with some of the local authors and all that kind of stuff. We interviewed a while ago Vanessa Montalban, who's
Oh, cool.
also a local.
Yes.
So it's always exciting when I see you guys posting from like the New Romantics or something. So I'm like, I love that bookstore so much.
I do
Um,
too. It's so good.
so just thank you so much for coming and talking to us.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. I want to break this down a little bit into like your publishing journey and then
Mhm.
talk about like your writing and stuff like that. But I really want to know, how did you first get started like publishing?
This is actually so relevant right now because I've been cleaning my office out. And so, as I've been going through these boxes upon boxes that are under the daybed in the corner, I found my first comic series. It's actually the second
Oh.
one, but yeah, it's something that I wrote, God, over 10 years ago. And
Hmm.
it's just packaged up and right there. So, I started in webcomics,
Hmm.
and that got me doing the math. And that was when I first published my very first webcomic online. That was about 20 years ago on like Yahoo Geo sites. I was probably about 15,
Hmm.
maybe. It was the first foray into the internet and storytelling. And it was very much that Sunday comic style where it was
Hmm.
a badly drawn illustration with some sort of pun. Very
I
gothy, very
love
Tim
it.
Burton inspired. And then that led me into making a comic series called Pumpkin Spice that I did for a
Hmm.
couple years. And I self-published those because I was publishing it online and I just
Hmm.
wanted a way to print it and sell it at conventions and stuff. And so that was the first journey into like making books, which it was cool to find them under my bed. I even found one that I made with a scrapbooking kit. So I literally like went and I pasted the
Hmm.
cardboard together and stuff. And that was so wild. It had like lace edges and I
Oh,
sometimes miss those like DIY tendencies
yes.
of like really just being like, I want to make a book. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna go into my craft supplies and make a book. Um, so yeah, I've been doing this for a little bit, but my first actual novel came out 10 years ago. It's
Wow.
very different from what I'm doing now. It was
Hmm.
a very quirky, off the wall diary called Confidence, the Diary of an Invisible Girl. And because I had experience self-publishing my comic, that's kind of what I went into for that too. So it was a lot of learning, really interesting, learning about like typesetting and design. My husband has a design background, so he helped me a lot with that, and we really kind of turned it into another DIY project. And now with the Mothman in Love series, I've teamed up with Four Horsemen Publications, who have been
Hmm.
incredible to work with. They're just the most wonderful mid-sized press, and it's been cool because they're very receptive to like these DIY, I want to do it myself. I want creative input, but
Hmm.
also have like a really guiding hand and a lot of industry knowledge and have been able to really collaborate on like things like the cover design. They
Hmm.
make the most incredible typeset. So all the books are so pretty on the inside too, and
Hmm.
they've been so supportive on this journey.
Yeah, Maddie, you literally have to see this. Like, look at how pretty all the pages have this like decoration on it. It's so
Love
lovely.
it. I
And I
love
gotta
it.
tell you, it makes reading it really fun too.
Oh,
Like,
I'm so glad.
I don't know what it is, but there's something about having that on the edge that like it kept me, I don't know, it kept like it made my eyes not get tired. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's just whenever they pitch that little it's like feathery moth antennas for the
Hmm.
page breaks. When I was flipping through it, I was just like, I never would have thought of that. That's so
Yeah.
smart. And I
Yeah.
love my editor, Bo Lake, who is also does really great werewolf romance.
Ooh.
But I've learned so much just in terms of like
Hmm.
spelling words wrong and comma placement, and maybe that's too many M dashes. And from her, she's just there. It's I love collaboration.
Hmm.
I think it can be really scary for writers to have
Hmm.
input and editors and that's one of the things. So you already mentioned Taylor Simons, who's incredible and the best, but our friendship has been so collaborative and just us bouncing ideas off of each other. And I think when you can find someone who you know is going to give you feedback from the best possible place, no judgment, just like pouring ideas, and it's such a gift. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's great. I feel really blessed.
I
I love
love
that.
that.
Especially because that's our whole thing here is all about
Hmm.
community and building writing communities. So kind of bringing it back to the importance of having a writing community, even if
Hmm.
it's a
Yeah,
small little close-knit community, it really does help your writing grow and you
it
Hmm.
too.
does. It's scary though, right? Like
Yes.
to,
Always.
yeah.
Yeah. So I want to know, how did you get from the independent publishing world into working with a small publisher? Did you send your manuscript to them? Did you need an agent to bridge that gap there?
Yeah, it was during Pit Mad when that was still going on. So for
Nice.
anyone listening who doesn't know, over on Twitter,
Hmm.
RIP, there
Yeah.
used to be a pitch contest where you would pitch out your novel, and publishers or agents could like them, and then you would send them some pages. So during that, can I talk? I don't think I've ever talked about this before.
Please tell
So
Please.
us.
the book wasn't done, and I know you're not supposed to do that. It was so close. It was so close to being done. But I think I
Cardinal
had,
sin.
I know. I think I had two chapters in there that just weren't finished. It was
Yeah.
like fill in the blank here kind
Hmm.
of thing.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
two publishers reached out, and I
Hmm.
went, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll
Shit.
just keep working on this." And I know how publishing works. I know it takes a really long time,
Yeah.
Sure.
most of the time, to hear back from people. And so I sent in my chapters, and I got pretty immediate responses from these two publishers that then I was
Hmm.
courting. And yeah, it was I took like about maybe I talked to some friends. I'm like, how fast do I need to finish this to be kind of on the radar? And they were
Yes.
like, you have about a week before it's. So I did. I like scrambled uh, in a way where I still had like time to
Hmm.
edit. Thank God for my husband because he just kind of took over everything while I dove in.
Hmm.
And I just hoped. I'm like, well, I really like it. I'm really proud of what I've done.
Yeah.
We'll see. And yeah, I ended up going with Four Horsemen. I had a couple meetings with them before I signed. And it just really seemed like we aligned. They had the same vision. The publishing pipeline would be fairly short, which was exciting because that was right at
Hmm.
the cusp when monster romance was becoming a thing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I felt like, oh, I really want to get this out soon.
Yeah.
Um, but at that point, I knew I just really it's not that I couldn't do it all by myself, but it
Hmm.
was feeling more and more unrealistic. Like at that, I think my daughter was pretty newly born at that point.
Hmm.
So like new mom, busy schedule, chronic illness. Like
Yeah.
it was so much. And my husband had a new job, so the
Oof.
design collaboration really just couldn't happen.
Hmm.
And I think this is the time when I really want to explore other opportunities. So it all
Hmm.
worked out really well, which I'm glad. But I still don't have an agent, and that's something that now
Hmm.
I'm newly kind of looking at exploring
Mhm.
with a manuscript I've been working on, and like just doing research again. And I haven't
Hmm.
queried in such a long time, so that's a whole other thing. That's
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Oh my
great.
gosh.
Going back into those trenches is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
But yeah, I don't
incredible.
know if I veered off kind of in a funny way, but
That
No,
was
no,
perfect.
that was
And you gave us
absolutely
the
wonderful.
tea, which was amazing.
Yes, I
Mhm.
have like
My shameful secret.
I don't think
it
like I feel like there's a lot of people who've done that in the past, so
mhm.
it's not so bad, but nothing puts a fire under your butt more than doing something like that.
Yes.
Gotta
Yeah.
get it
Hmm.
together.
Yeah. I've so many different questions just from that story. But it's so like it kind of breaks my heart a little bit that Twitter has gone away because, we've talked before about like trying to find that writing community, and I feel like those things like, Pit Mad and Mood Pit and like all the rest of it was so integral in getting debut authors or, people who hadn't been published traditionally up to that point a space. So it makes me so happy that you were able to be a part of that and get that done,
Yeah.
because it's just such a cool thing to have been a part of. Um, and how did you decide between the two publishing houses?
It was I went kind of through both of the things that the publishers had to offer.
Hmm.
One of them was really more focused on digital only, and print came second.
Oh.
The other one, I knew I would be able to get into Barnes and Noble. I knew
Hmm.
that there would just be more opportunities. So
Yep.
whenever we broke it down, and then also like chemistry, like getting
Yeah.
into a meeting and being like, oh, they get it. I think when
Hmm.
you're any book, I was going to say with a Mothman romance, but that's not true. It's any book. You just
Yeah.
want someone who clicks with
Gets
you
it.
and you know they're going to be really rallying. So as
Hmm.
soon as we got to talking, I knew, oh, like these are my people.
Hmm.
I'm gonna feel at home here. So that was
Nice.
yeah, they've been great.
I love that. I do want to ask a little bit about the cover. So
Yes.
the book is really, I mean, if we had to relate it to something, Beauty and the Beast,
Mhm.
obviously, kind of, but it's very like Snow White-esque on the cover.
Oh,
Like I
I've
see this
never made that
little Oh, I see
connection.
this little peasant top, and immediately I was like, oh my gosh, that's very Snow White. So, like, what was the process? Because that's
Mhm.
something that I always think about with traditional publishing is you don't have as much control over, the cover, different things like that. Do you get collaborative input
I
with a small?
have, which is yeah.
Oh, that's
Well, okay, so
awesome.
that art, there's an artist, she changed her handle. It
Hmm.
used to be Lia Draws.
Okay.
And so I think if you go through
Hmm.
my tagged post on Paige Lavoie author on Instagram, you'll be able to trace it back
Hmm.
to her.
Okay.
But I found this author and
Hmm.
our artist, and I was obsessed. And it was before I even had signed any contracts. I was like, hey, would you
Uh-huh.
do character art for me? And could I buy a commercial license
Aw.
just in case? Because I knew
Hmm.
I would be able to use it for something, even
Yep.
if it wasn't for the cover.
Hmm.
And so she was like, absolutely, that sounds great. So I only commissioned just the characters. And
Oh.
my process was for designing what she's wearing was
Hmm.
actually um, trending outfits because she's a former fashion influencer.
Yep.
So if anyone's tuning in, she's a burnt out influencer, and I did that like we were on the radio.
No, I
Um,
love it.
who moves to the woods to get away from her life online, and oh no, Mothman lands on her roof, and he's hot.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, what's gonna
Awesome.
happen?
Yep.
So that was inspired by the Selkie dress, which at the time
Mm.
was really
Oh yeah.
popular. And then this one,
Yes.
it isn't Laya Matoshi. It's the sister of the designer who did the strawberry dress, had these
Okay.
really popular floral pieces. So
Yes.
I sent that as a reference picture because I knew she's into fashion.
Yep.
She's going to be noticing all these trendy
Hmm.
online brands. And I also thought from a marketing perspective,
Hmm.
if you are following the trends and interested in that sort of thing, the cover might then catch your eye because you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
ooh, I've seen that on
Hmm.
Instagram or TikTok or what have you.
Hmm.
So I
Did she
thought of
also do the artwork for Dear Galaxy?
she didn't. That was
Okay.
designed by Shay, which I should have pulled that over here. This is my Mothman shrine.
You're good.
But Dear Galaxy, it's like pastel and fun and
Hmm.
very 50s. And Shay, I met through an event called Dapper Day at Disney. So
Love Dapper
yes, we dress
Days.
up all fancy. A lot of times it's
Hmm.
like vintage and 50s. And she does this really incredible retro art. So as soon as I knew
Cool.
that we were doing this book, I was like, please, 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 please. And she did that whole cover, not just the character art. But
Cool.
as of right now, I've been teasing that I'm working on the follow-up to the Mothman series, which will be its own series. It's lightly a spin-off.
Okay.
But our next monster boy is a swamp monster.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
I have the cover in my inbox, and like
Oh,
literally it's the most beautiful summer romance I have ever seen.
oh my
It was another
gosh.
artist I found on
Mhm.
Instagram, and it's pink and it's like green, and there's a swamp, and they're
Ah,
like looking lovingly into each other's eyes. And
I love
is this
it.
one based in Florida?
yeah, it's based in
It's a swamp
actually.
man.
And in Silver Springs is where I got the idea because we were
Mm-hmm.
on the Glass Bottom boat tour,
Yep.
and that's one of the locations from Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was looking down at the Glass Bottom boat, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if you just saw a swamp monster just swim by? So I'll give you some info. They're
Yes.
childhood best friends that she met. She met him at summer camp. And so as a grown up, she's going to
Oh.
go back to the campgrounds and she's
Mhm.
going to think that he was imaginary, but
Right.
surprise, not imaginary.
I
Oh,
can't
So
wait
grown
for
up
this
is
book.
hot.
I think tentatively summer of 2026, and I'm so
Okay.
excited. But there should
I,
be info coming on my Instagram and my mailing list soon
oh
for
my
just everything.
Gosh,
That's
amazing.
so
That sounds
awesome.
amazing.
I want to know, like, again, still so many publishing questions, but I want to get into the writing now because, like, that's so cool to think about. Do you always know that your books are going to be series, or does it just kind of
Mm,
like come to you as you're writing? Because Mothman, I don't want to spoil anything, ends on like a cliffhanger.
yes.
So it's very clear it's going to be a series. But did you know that while you were writing it?
No, not for so
Okay.
I knew I wanted to have like a little like it ends with like happy ending. You know that they're
Mm-hmm.
happy, you know they're in love, but there's this little lead in for I wasn't sure if it was going to be the reader kind of imagines what happens next or
Okay.
it would be a series.
Mm-hmm.
But Four Horsemen actually only publishes series for the most part.
Mm.
Not always. There's some wiggle room there. So Dear Galaxy isn't a series,
Right.
but when I got the pitch offer for them and I was looking at the information, that was when the decision happened that this would be a series where
Cool.
I went through and I looked at each book and I said, okay,
Mhm.
I'm only going to pitch this if this makes sense because the last thing I want to do is have it feel really drawn out.
Mhm.
And I had a question recently where someone said that they didn't typically see a series where it follows the same couple the whole
Right.
time. So it's
Hmm.
their, I'm in love, I'm engaged, I'm getting married. And I really looked at things like The Christmas Prince on Netflix, where
Hmm.
you have that chronicle of their relationship, like
Uh-huh.
that cheesy kind of feel good feeling. I thought
Hmm.
about 90s rom-coms.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I really wanted it to be each story feels like its own book, even though they
Hmm.
build on each other, and you're
Hmm.
just focusing on that particular time in a relationship because the time that you meet is going to be different than that sort of meeting the
Hmm.
family. Do our worlds really
Right.
mesh together? And then the wedding was just the most fun ever because I got to do dual POV and really have just hijinks and Heather's
Hmm.
things that happen with her that I won't spoil, but
Yes.
you meet Gil, the
Hmm.
swamp monster, in book three of
Oh, how
the series. Yeah, so then you get to see his love story next, and it's so
that's
fun.
That's
awesome.
so fun.
Do you like in the back of your mind, do you have like a whole series of cryptids?
Cryptid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cryptids,
thank you.
yeah,
Love stories like piling up back here, or do they
yes.
just kind of like come to you as they come?
They're pretty piled up right now. Where this I know Gil is going to be next, the swamp monster, and then I
Okay.
thought that the vampire you meet in book three of
Mm-hmm.
Mothman, he's also in book two as well for a short
Okay.
moment.
Mhm.
I thought he would be next, so it's going to be these three books where they have some tie-ins to Mothman in
Mm-hmm.
Love, but they're separate.
Nice.
But you've kind of seen some cameos, but now it's going to be a whole different monster
I love that.
next after
A whole different
Gilbert.
one.
So
Gilbert.
I love him so much.
Gilbert.
Um I love a fish man. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it and then I am working on a demon thing too, which I guess demons and uh vampires aren't really cryptids, but we've got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of spooky paranormal stuff
Yeah.
just constantly
Yeah.
in the
No,
background. Yeah.
absolutely.
What
I
are
love that.
what are your top five favorite cryptids?
I mean Mothman.
Mothman, of
Yeah.
course.
I've been intrigued by the oh, what's her name? The Braxy, the She's the fire lady. She's so pretty.
This is your territory, Maddie.
I know, I
Like,
know.
What's her name? I'm like, when you get asked, like, what's your favorite
oh, and
book?
your
And you
entire
just
brain goes
I've
blank.
never read a book. I don't know what that
Yes.
means. So I'm
Yeah.
like a cryptid.
Yeah.
But when I was at the Mothman Festival last year, I learned about all sorts of cryptids I've never
Mhm.
heard about before.
Cool.
Yeah, it was great. It was the Mothman Festival, so
Yeah.
it's in Point Pleasant. I got to sign with Erie Travels, who's a really incredible paranormal podcast, but
hmm
all of them know so much about like paranormal and cryptids. So I learned about the bench leg, which is a leg of a bench that is like a spooky thing that is on this specific street in the Muncie family, who they're some of the people who do the podcast. I learned about
Okay.
the night crawlers, obviously I knew about because they've got the
Mm.
big old legs and stuff.
hmm
Yeah. Oh, the Flatwoods
Oh,
fire
the Flatwood
monster.
Monster, yep.
That's who I was thinking of.
Okay.
But yeah, I do also love the Loch Ness Monster. There's a book that's on
Yes.
my TBR about a romance.
Aw.
But yes, and I can't remember the title, but I saw it at Target the other day and I went, "What?"
Interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Have you heard of the squonk?
yes, I have heard of the Squonk.
I have
Yeah.
not. What is
I don't know
this?
that I would want to write
Well,
a
not a
romance about the Squonk.
romance, but like maybe, but like if he could make a cameo, that'd be
Yeah.
very cute.
I
So,
do think that I should have had more critters as cameos. I think if I were
yeah,
to do it again, there would be more little and I made up Sprout, but he's kind of his own thing, where
yeah,
he's like a
yeah.
big fluffy dog with
hmm
moth antenna.
hmm
So
Well,
maybe I just need
yeah.
to start lore. We're like, oh, Sprout sighting.
Yep. I love that. Amazing. That's hilarious. I love that, and it transitions really well into you do a lot of, well, it seems to be a lot of like festivals and conventions and book signings. Is that a part of, like, I know that authors do book tours. Is
Mhm.
that like a part of your book tours, or is it something you do on your own?
I don't know that I've properly organized a book tour yet. I really want to for the summer for the Swamp Monster book and just visit all my favorite indies. I think that would be so fun. But it's kind of like I've looked at what I have coming out and then what events are going on. But really with these events, it feels like you have to apply a year before. So like Books, Gowns, and Crowns, I think their applications went out very shortly, or they might even have been out before that previous year. So that was not necessarily a learning curve, but something I didn't realize where uh you're applying like a year plus before these events happen. So yeah, it's been interesting. So everything I have coming up, I'm doing Romance Con. I think I'm going to be back at the Mothman Festival, which I'm excited about. And then the Romantasy, the in Florida, the Fabled Fantasy events. I think there's like a couple like bookstore things coming up as well, but uh things I feel like just happen and then you have to decide like, okay, is this one I'm focusing on a specific book for or what's happening there? So if I have a release coming up, then it's like everything in the following months or leading up to it will be a little bit more themed to whatever that release is. But I haven't yet organized like a book tour, which I really want to. I've organized release parties. So for Engaged to Mothman, we did the Ripped Bodice in New York, which
How cool.
I guess that wasn't really me organizing. That was me emailing them and saying, please, please, please. Um, and that was so much fun. I love them.
Mhm.
They're just incredible. And then I just happened to be able to do for getting married to Mothman. It like was really close to the grand opening for the New Romantics. So it's
Yeah.
like okay, well, that's my first official signing for this book, and also the
Aw.
opening of the best romance bookstore in Orlando. So
Yes.
that
Yes.
worked out so well. So I love when things fall in line like that. But one thing, what I was just talking about this, I really want to do another picnic. I did this last
Mhm.
year where it was the fairy picnic, and I just posted on my Instagram stories like, "Hey, I'm going to do a little picnic to celebrate Engaged to Mothman if anyone wants to come." And
Aw.
a couple people DM'd me, and we all met up at Mead Gardens and dressed up like fairies and ate snacks and took pictures. And I did a little reading before the book came out. And I
Mhm.
want to do that again so much. It was just a really great way to bring like
That's so
local community
special.
together. I loved
Hmm.
it. I've been trying to think of how to do that for Swamp Monster. I'm like, could we all do like a Springs meetup? Could we like
Yes.
tie inner tubes together and all do a little reading
Right.
while we're like floating?
Go out to Wekiva or King's Landing or
Yes,
something.
right?
That would
Yeah.
be
I don't
so
know.
fun.
I really, I'm wheels are turning where I feel
Yeah.
like that could be so fun.
So
Yeah.
that's something that you generate, though. It's not something that your
Yeah.
publisher is like
No,
connected with.
they do have cool things with when they go to conventions like PopCon. That
Okay.
was my first time ever in a celebrity area, which
Ooh.
I didn't know that was going to happen. So,
Hmm.
and they didn't know it was going to happen either, which was
Hmm.
interesting. Like the plan was I was going to sign at their table,
Yeah.
and so we were all like sitting there working, and I'm tying ribbons on the blind date book
Hmm.
box things, and
Hmm.
Yeah.
we're chatting, and the organizers came over, and they're like, "Hey, Paige, it's so nice to meet you. We'll get you your badge. Have you seen where you're going to be set up?" And we all just kind of, um, what? Like, huh? And
That's so
yeah,
cool.
it
That's
was really
so
cool.
cool.
Yeah, it was very surreal. It's
Mm.
I still kind of can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
Mm.
But that was because of Four Horsemen and stuff. So um
Wow.
when they do different conventions,
Mm.
like the Mothman Festival as well, they have the Erie Travels podcast is kind of partnered with them. So that
Okay.
was a way I was able to get out there. But they've definitely had like some really cool in-person opportunities
Hmm.
too, which is neat. So it's a mix and match of me
Hmm.
like choosing my own little adventures and then also things that come up with them, which is has been cool because it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like I have to do it all, but it also feels like I have the freedom to really plan and
Hmm.
experiment with stuff. Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
really cool.
With thinking about the Mothman convention and stuff like that, and you talked about like they know so deep lore with, how did you approach or how do you approach research with any of these cryptid stories?
Yes.
Because I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but that Mothman is an alien.
Yeah.
So, like how did you come up with your own lore and does it match like traditional lore?
It's really interesting because there are a couple different avenues of like
Hmm.
people seeing Mothman, the things that have been reported. So there is kind of that owl-like
Mm.
Hmm.
feathered big hulking creature. And so I took a lot of the like owl-like
Hmm.
features into the design, but I like mix and match like
Hmm.
uh different things that I thought would be interesting.
Hmm.
Where I was like, I want him to be soft, but I don't want him to be the more Sasquatch version of Mothman that
Right.
sometimes
Yeah.
you see.
Hmm.
Um, but sometimes there's still kind of that like, oh, is he a bad
Yeah.
omen or is he just like a misunderstood creature? So I definitely
Hmm.
went misunderstood creature route.
Hmm.
And for it, turning him into spoilers, big
Sorry.
spoilers. No, I'm also
Yeah.
announcing
Yeah.
like a enchanted fairy prince. That's
Yeah.
the thing that I was like, are people gonna be mad at me? Um,
Right.
and it's like, oops, I made you read a fairy romance and you didn't. Um, but there's this whole theory about him being like an interdimensional
Hmm.
traveler, someone from a different realm. So it actually kind of, in a
Cool.
strange way, fit in with that. And I thought, we have all these cryptids, we have all these different creatures that we see. What if they're all from like these different realms, and they've just
Cool.
happened upon where
Hmm.
we are? And that was a fun thing to like play with and explore. And I'm sure there are people who it's not their cup of tea, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's nice that from like the monster lover, the cryptid community, I've gotten
Hmm.
really positive. Like, oh, I
Hmm.
loved that part, or that was such a fun
Cool.
twist on it. So
Hmm.
that was scary though.
Yeah. Yeah. So will Swamp Man also be
He's
from
in
a
the
different?
same
Cool.
Eclipsica is the world I made up, which
Nice.
it's me Googling what's a group of moths called?
I love it.
And they have like kind of the biggest
Mm.
region. I really want to draw a map and but there's like a swamp
I love maps.
area, me too, in
Yes.
there that you see in the third book when Heather is
Hmm.
oh, I can't say without spoilers, but she's
Please
flying
don't
away
spoil.
into the reeds and stuff, and she
Okay.
does bump into a
Okay.
swamp monster who's
Okay.
got a cute southern accent and a heart of gold. And I
Amazing.
just but yeah, so that is a part of this
Cool.
magical land.
Okay.
And there's also like a shadowy vampire
Hmm.
kingdom in there and
Mhm.
stuff. Like I'm just
Cool.
Hey,
Okay.
Universal Studios, if you could just give me some space.
Right? Okay,
I
here's my pitch. Instead of Halloween Horror Nights, I really want spooky romance nights
my God,
instead. Because
That
I'm
please.
would
not
be
going to
so
Halloween
fun.
Horror Nights, but I will go to spooky romance
Yeah.
nights.
I worked at Halloween Horror Nights for
Oh,
2 years. If anyone is listening and they remember the school zone, I was one of the creepy trick-or-treaters.
oh my gosh.
That's
I don't want to
amazing.
be I don't want to pay somebody to scare me. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't appeal to me at all.
I
No,
mean,
it's fair.
that is fair. But I want to go back to your research
Mhm.
because the thing with
Yes.
cryptids, I think cryptids is a really good avenue to go because there's so many conflicting stories.
Hmm.
And so there is room for you to like make your own lore and make it fit with this
Mhm.
perspective and this perspective because there is so many different ideas of what Mothman looks like and the different
Yes.
testimonies you can pick and pull from stuff like
Oh,
because
Mhm.
yeah.
it's all inconsistent and I think
Well,
that's really fun.
I think so too. And before I even started, or after I wrote the book,
Mhm.
one of the real Mothman sightings, I got to meet her at the Mothman Festival. And again, I'm blanking on everything,
That's
but
okay.
I can send you all the information because I believe her story is on the Eerie Travels podcast.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But she was a little girl, lived in I think Point Pleasant, somewhere
Hmm.
in West Virginia, and she had one of those. They had one of those very tall porches, and she
Hmm.
fell, and she felt something warm and soft scoop her up. She felt safe, and then all of a sudden was just back on her feet, and then it went off. And this really cool lady ended up becoming a Bigfoot hunter for a while. And then
Cool.
as she learned about Mothman, she realized that's actually where it aligned.
Yeah.
But it was really cool meeting her and talking with her because there's that similarity of when Heather falls out of a tree,
Yes.
she's freaked out, she's super scared,
Yeah.
but when he's holding her,
Hmm.
he's warm, he is soft, like despite
Hmm.
her fear, she is like safe and she starts to
Yeah.
feel that way. And so that was I was like, "Oh, that's my Mothman." Like I
Yeah.
yeah, so it was so cool to meet her and chat with her for a little bit and
That's
just like
so
what a cool woman.
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my
so incredible.
gosh.
Yeah, like I had chills.
That's really, really good. Literally, you're telling that story, and I was like, oh, that's exactly the same as what
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay. I could talk about the cryptid in the community and all the rest of that for such a long time, but I do want to move on just a little bit. I want to talk about, there's so many different directions I could go in. Um, I'm sorry, Maddie. You know I have to do this. So I'm also a mom. My daughter's one.
Oh,
How do you balance like the mom, wife, writer, like all the rest of that together?
yeah, I like don't typically talk too much about this on like social media and stuff, but I think
Mhm.
that that's mostly just a boundary of like not sharing
Of
pictures or
course.
like names or anything like that. But just as far as schedule goes, it is
Hmm.
like it's really hard. It was
Yeah.
easy when like naps were a thing.
Yes.
What's a nap? Who knows?
Yeah.
But um it's very much like I feel like I try not to feel guilty about the time that I can't write and
Hmm.
just be present, be in the moment, be having
Hmm.
fun. And then leaning on like if you have a
Hmm.
community where I'm really lucky, my sister and I are really close. And
Hmm.
so I've been able to like set up time blocks where they're hanging out, having super fun auntie
Hmm.
time, and then I'm getting work done. But yeah, right now I'm in edits.
Hmm.
And so trying to figure out like, okay, as soon as my husband gets home from work, we're gonna
Hmm.
have dinner and then I'm gonna like kind of squirrel away, or it's the
Yeah.
weekend, so I'm gonna block
Hmm.
out some time. But it really is just kind of trying to figure out when you can get hours in.
Yeah.
But I mean, when I had to proofread all of Dear Galaxy, I think in 2 weeks.
Mm. Wow.
Whenever my daughter was still like the baby phase, and
Hmm.
I that was like bedtime stories, and that one's a
Yeah.
YA. It's very like sweet
Yeah.
YA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so but I just like read that out loud and like it's just
Wow.
Double
but
duty.
it's
I
hard
love
if you
that.
have you know
Hmm. Yeah.
but also like parallel play where I'm like, okay, so we're
If
at
I
a
pull out my computer, she will stop whatever she's doing and come over and close my computer. I'm like, you weren't even paying attention to me. Like, I what? Go do your own thing.
I got one of
Um,
these. It's not a great,
oh
it's
my
just
God,
like
I
it's like the
love
lowest
that.
tech
That's so
thing.
cute.
But yeah, it's really just don't feel guilty is
Yeah.
the biggest
Okay.
advice. Yeah,
Yeah.
which
That is
I wish I
definitely one of
had
the
better.
hardest.
And then trying to time block and also like
Hmm.
honoring your rest too.
Yeah.
Because if you're really tired because you had a full day of being a mom,
Hmm.
you're allowed to sleep. You deserve the sleep. It's important to like and that's something I'm really working on right now
Hmm.
is just making sure that I'm like recharging too
Hmm.
because like if you're not taking care of yourself, then you're not going to be kind of running at all cylinders. And
Yeah.
I think that it's like we'll see how it goes. Talk to me at the end of this month when I'm at the end of this deadline. If I'm like, I stayed up for 48 hours and I've had 2 gallons of coffee and yeah.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
but the
that part that you said before, I'm gonna clip it and I'm gonna send it to Abigail like once a week.
Which
I literally
one?
So about like
you're allowed
you're
to
allowed to
You're allowed to
rest.
rest.
rest. It's
It
this is like
literally
a listen to my words, not my actions.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
No, but like
Yes.
the looking down the barrel of the camera saying you're allowed to rest is so like it hit me really hard because this whole month like she's been teething, her molars are coming in, like it's been hell. And so when she naps, instead of coming and working on my book, I've been napping because I'm like I'm exhausted. And then I wake up and I feel so bad that I'm like, oh, I could have
No,
edited some
no,
chapters and I
no,
could have
no, no, no.
No,
You
but
needed a
like
nap.
you
You
couldn't
need
have really. I mean, you
no.
would have sat there
No.
and been frustrated because you were too
I
tired
would
and you couldn't
have. Yeah.
concentrate. So it would have been a waste of time anyway.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
spent the time better.
Well, and all I mean, also like chronic illness tips,
Hmm.
which it's more multitasking. It's not really resting, but I've
Yeah.
drafted from I said this on a podcast once and someone DM'd me and they're like, with your laptop? But I've drafted from like my bathtub before in like Epsom salt baths. I've taken notes on my phone while I'm walking and stuff. And yeah, it's kind of like
Hmm.
waiting rooms for
Yep.
dentist appointments. I've written
Hmm.
some wild things in waiting rooms.
The Mothman
Like,
smut in the
please don't
dentist
look
waiting
over
room.
my shoulder.
Oh my
But yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
like
See, Maddie, that's for
yeah.
you.
I know.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
clip that out for you then.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Write smut from your doctor's office.
Yeah,
Right,
Like
smart from
motivational.
doctor's
It's one of
office.
those like cat motivational posters.
Yes.
Oh
Right,
my
smart
God,
from the
I
doctor's
love
office.
it. That's
Yeah.
so funny. Amazing. No, I appreciate that because, it is so cool for me to see you being so successful and having so many different books out and different series and still be drafting and all that kind of stuff because it does sometimes feel like I am like, when you're nap trapped when they're really, really young
Yeah.
and you're like, I can't physically do anything because if I move, they will wake up. And if they wake up, I will die.
I bought a Kindle whenever because I had been reading physical books
Hmm.
or reading from the Kindle app and the Kindle
Hmm.
app was abysmal
Yeah.
and had so many weird ads. Like if anyone
Oh.
is a new mom and or if you've dealt
Hmm.
with this where
Yeah.
it's like really icky kind of mommy makeover stuff or like
Yes.
you're
Oh.
kind of like things to make you feel like you're not good enough and like
Hmm.
F
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
no so I bought a Kindle just so I could read and like cut through
Yeah.
distractions and stuff
Yeah.
and just enjoy like
Hmm.
reading a book too like that's
Yeah.
my I'm so behind on reading goals because I feel like I'm always just reading my own books over and
Yeah.
over in the editing
Hmm.
yeah
I get that. No, my first Mother's Day, my husband bought me a Kindle Scribe so that I
ooh
could edit my own manuscripts on my Kindle Scribe from bed rather than like having paper and all the rest of it.
I
It's
want to show
great.
you while we're kind of on the this is my
Yes.
I have a free write.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
How do
So
you like
wow.
it?
I love it. I I thought that I killed it, and I was so sad because it's been a part of my like really integral part of my drafting
Yeah.
process. But I have it all decorated with stickers.
I love
Ah.
that. Oh,
And it fits
Who's
perfectly in my
Mothman?
purse, and I love
yeah.
it. And get a little QP Mothman here. But that's been a really big part of the process too,
hmm
where this is so much easier to pull out than a whole laptop when you're
Yeah.
like my drafts are a little messier, but they've always been. I'm a messy
hmm
drafter. I
Yeah.
don't really write in order. I'd love to try to learn how.
I love that. Are you traditionally a pantser or a plotter?
I'm a hybrid
Oh,
where
yes.
we've
Tell us
got
that.
okay. So I like to do a skeleton draft.
Okay.
So that is where I kind of write what I think would be on the back cover of the book. And
hmm
then it's like ideas for the beginning, a lot of notes where it's like scene goes here where there is conflict, scene goes here
hmm
where we're learning this thing. I did
Okay.
this just recently with my demon book
hmm
where um I knew exactly how I wanted it to open. And then
hmm
it's a Christmas book. So I'm like, okay, they go to the tree lighting here. They have to bake cookies and there's a mishap here. Like I just put the beats that I thought would make sense for a Christmas romance, while also trying to figure out where to drop like demon lore and stuff.
Yes.
So it was a combination of big scenes being written out and
hmm
notes for what I knew would have to happen in between them. And then when I had time to draft and if I wanted to do it on my free write, I would write down what scenes I needed to work on
hmm
and then have that like distraction free
Cool.
tip typing away
hmm
from
Yeah.
the dentist office or whatever. I sound like I'm at the dentist constantly. I'm not. More like Quest to get blood work
No, of
done is
course.
probably the
Yeah.
thing.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm always at
Yeah.
Quest.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's kind of what an early draft looks like, where it's a lot
hmm
of insert things here,
hmm
rough beats of what the story is going to look like. And I was looking through a Google Doc last night where it's literally for a next book, but sometimes you're editing and a scene that you wrote does not suit the characters.
hmm
And so there's like big docs I have where it's just like well, I'll probably use this sometime.
The
Like,
rejects
yeah,
file.
yeah,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I have an archive and I try to like title it very specifically. So if I'm
hmm
like, I need a scene where these two people, and I was like, this is perfect. I can
Oh
rework
my
it.
God, that's so smart to
Mhm.
actually label stuff. I
Well,
Maddie is our organizational queen.
please,
I spend too
please,
much time organizing stuff.
can I just give you my files and can you make them make sense for me? Please.
Honestly, yes, I would prefer to do that than do my own stuff.
Do you can I ask y'all a question? Do you
Yeah.
ever write work on stuff by hand? Because my
hmm
next pass for editing is I'm gonna print everything out and take
hmm
all of my feedback, have it in a
hmm
notebook to one side, and then while I'm reading through it, kind of have
hmm
everything in mind and
Yeah,
yeah.
not to be an ad for Kindle Scribe, but
You
I
can do
get
that on Kindle
That was gonna
Scribe.
be what I was gonna say, Maddie.
I know because it's my fault you have a Kindle Scribe, I
It
think.
is. It really is.
So with the Kindle Scribe, you can like send a PDF,
hmm
and you can also export it as an ebook and put it, and then you send it,
Mm.
and it's about this big, so it's like the size of a notebook, and then you can write comments, and like the comments will move the text, and so you'll have be able to write your own
Oh,
comments in there,
hmm
and you can highlight and stuff. And
that's
so I like doing that
appealing.
because I prefer to handwrite my edits, but I feel
hmm
guilty printing all that paper. So this
That's
was kind of
fair.
the
I
solution I have.
I
This
bought
is
pink paper.
Pink paper.
I did. I bought pink
That's so
paper.
Elwoods. I
Oh
love
my God.
it.
I do hole punch and then
Mhm.
I ribbon them all together with bows. And
You're the
so
cutest human ever.
thanks.
It's
Oh my
adorable. I
God.
love
My
that.
That would make
post-its
it
are
more fun.
croissants.
I love it. No, this is all of my beta reader
Ah,
feedback. So this is 5 copies of my book that had all my
oh my
beta readers. I
God.
printed it and sent it to them because I like handwritten feedback.
I love
Um,
that.
and so I also will print. So like I have all that because I need to recycle it because I again feel guilty for printing out so much paper. Um, but now I can do my edits on my scribe, and then when I feel really ready, I'll print out my beta reader copies so that they can hand
Oh,
edit.
that's very
Um,
smart.
yeah,
Both
so
of you.
it's No, but
I
it is.
mean, we all try
Maddie
and find
truly
different methods. We
great.
try to find what works for us because it
Yeah.
is very difficult to kind of pin down
Hmm.
like a recipe for making the process
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
streamlined as possible.
Hmm.
But I
I
do
never, yeah.
find, I was just say, I do find editing by hand to be more effective for me because if I try to edit on my computer screen, my eyes just kind of glaze over.
Same.
That's that's the thing where it's
Hmm.
the eye fatigue. Are you I find that if I'm on the computer, I'm it's more likely I'm going to start to skim.
Yes.
And I can kind of catch that easier if I'm reading it on
Hmm.
paper of
I
like,
wonder if
oh,
it's
you just.
like
Yep.
because like there's like your writer brain and then there's your editor brain.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so I feel like when I'm at the computer, I'm in my writer brain and
Mhm.
I need to step away from my computer to find my editor brain. I don't know if that
No, I
has
think
something
that
to do.
makes sense. I get
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, I do want to just dip really, really quickly. Um, we talked about this a little bit earlier about Heather being the burnt out social media influencer and all that kind of stuff. How do you find the role of social media plays into you being an author? Because reading it in the way that Heather's brain works of I'm so exhausted. I'm waking up and having my coffee. Hashtag, Sunday morning cozy or whatever. Like, does your brain work like that sometimes when thinking about promoting?
Yes. Sometimes it depends. I had like a little bit, I was never very good at it, of like an
Hmm.
influencer time in my life.
Okay.
So I did like retro kind of not
Hmm.
quite pinup, but like very
Hmm.
50s fashion. And so I
Hmm.
had some brand partnerships
Okay.
with like Urs Wilder, who's a pin company, was the big one. And
Hmm.
I remember just like being in front of the camera, trying to get these shots, not being happy, like
Yeah.
the hoping that they performed well enough.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of the fashion content that I was making that went into Heather, the comparison, the
Hmm.
like just nitpicking yourself and thinking sometimes where I used to do a lot of stuff on stories too, where it
Hmm.
was just like, okay, I'm filming myself making my coffee in the morning. I'm doing
Yeah.
this. Uh, and before that, I had a brief stint as a YouTuber where I
Oh.
did nerd content and how to make
Hmm.
web comics and stuff. So I took
Hmm.
all of that online background
Hmm.
and just put it right into Heather and her feelings about social media and
Hmm.
stuff. But as far as like marketing books, I feel
Hmm.
like I have recently found a little more of a balance where I'll have a lot of different content ideas that I just jot
Hmm.
down in my notes app.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that's the harder thing than finding the time to write is finding the time to like just bulk film stuff because
Yeah.
you have to feel like you want to be in front of the camera and especially if
Hmm.
you're doing more like face focused stuff. So
Hmm.
that's something that I'm looking forward to trying to find a new rhythm in.
Hmm.
But I use a lot of scheduling stuff, like the
Okay.
Meta Business Suite.
Hmm.
It's terrible,
Yeah.
but it does schedule like I wish TikTok had a scheduler, and
Yeah.
that's something I really miss about Twitter because you
Hmm.
could schedule your tweets. So I would just
Yeah.
go on there, schedule a ton of tweets, and then
Yeah.
leave. And come back a couple times a week and reply to stuff. But you
Hmm.
can't do that on Threads.
Yeah.
And Threads is not an app I can have on my phone.
Mm-mm.
It's too much drama. Everyone's yelling at each other. Like,
Yeah.
and it's a bummer too, because like I like a lot of the people who are on there and I like to have casual
Hmm.
conversations. So I would say right now, I feel like that social media is feeling a little bit just less, not less fun.
Yeah.
It's just it's a time drain.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's hard. The marketing brain is you have your writing brain, your editing brain, and your marketing brain. And
Hmm.
it's like you have to just put your whole marketing hat on and focus
Yeah.
in on it for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Because both of us, Maddie and I, have struggled with an online social presence and stuff. I mean, both of us
Hmm.
have like our author websites or whatever. Maddie did an amazingly admirable job trying to do TikTok for a while, but it's just draining and like
Hmm.
I'm trying to run our social media for the podcast and it's just it can be so discouraging not gaining
Yes.
followers,
And when you work really hard on a video and it just
Yeah.
flops and it's you have to stop almost caring in order for it
Yeah.
to do well. And how do
Hmm.
you make content that you think is quality while also simultaneously not care about it? So
Exactly. Yeah.
I had the tip recently of reusing stuff.
Okay.
And so I've been doing that and downloading a bunch of my old TikToks that did
Oh,
whether
cool.
they did well or not, and then
Hmm.
putting them on Reels with a trending
Hmm.
audio or using the edits app because I guess they're
Yeah.
pushing content with edits.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
mess. It's a
Yeah.
mess.
It's
And
so, and it's
I'm,
changing constantly. Like kind of,
Hmm.
yeah. And you feel
Yeah.
like you get it in your rhythm of, okay,
Hmm.
you post 5 days a week at this time, and then it
Yep.
changes.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that does make me feel a little bit better that like it truly is just it sounds like it's a lot of luck, you
It is a
know?
lot of luck.
Because I feel like I
or do
can't
you need
quite get
somebody
it.
who's that's their whole thing? Like they're
Yeah.
studying those algorithms and they know what to do. It is hard. It's like it is a whole nother career, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. And then like sometimes I'll bulk draft captions and stuff too. Like just kind of
Hmm.
work like batch work stuff, I guess is the way you'd
Nice.
phrase that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, reading the book, I was like, first of all, I have a whole issue with the mommy bloggers and whatever else. So,
Same.
but
Same.
that's a separate thing. But like reading the way that Heather thinks about her life it was very much like yeah, my brain does not work that way. And like, that's, I think, part of the thing that, Maddie and I are both trying to get published, trying to break into that field. And I feel like that's the part that's scariest for me is getting in front of the camera and marketing the
Mhm.
book instead of just like, hey, my writing can stand on its own. Now it's a like, no, the author's also a personality behind it.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
scary.
it is scary. I know there's a lot of things you can do without your face too.
Hmm.
Like you see that a lot in monster romance because there are a lot of people who
Hmm.
are anonymous.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so that's I mean now something that is nice is we can search like faceless content
Right.
ideas and we'll get
Hmm.
kind of results and stuff.
Yeah.
But I know that sometimes it's like having a face on
Mm.
camera does help.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, y'all are both lovely and have a great camera presence, so
Thank
there is
you.
that.
Thank you. We're trying.
Wow.
Yes.
You're
Wow.
welcome.
We work on
Thank you.
it. Um,
Well,
yeah. Before we ask our final question, I do want to talk about real quick, your writing community. It sounds like you've done a really wonderful job building it up. But I know that you used to do something called Minute Motivation. Um,
yeah,
was that part of your YouTube channel, or like was that just it? I guess my question is, where was that in your writing journey as you're trying to connect with other writers?
that was pretty early on. They were doing in-person stuff again. It kind of went on hiatus during the pandemic, but a local writing community called Writers Atelier,
Hmm.
run by Raquel Henry, who's lovely, a
Hmm.
lot of Christmas romance and just really, really strong into community in the Orlando Winter
Hmm.
Park area.
Hmm.
But I was helping with their YouTube channel for a little bit. So I'm like, okay, what can I
Oh,
contribute? And
okay.
it was these 60-second sort of motivational pep talks for writers. And
Hmm.
it's interesting because I was recording those pretty early on in my writing. I think Confidence had just come out.
Hmm.
And, to contrast the name of the book, I had very high anxiety and like not the best confidence.
Hmm.
Um, and so I was really recording week to week the things that I wished someone would tell me. And
Oh.
I think I got to 100 episodes
Hmm.
and then now Raquel's doing it and I think she has some guest speakers once in a while, but it was a really nice thing to do and like every week I would just think about like okay, like what do I really need to hear this week?
Hmm.
And a lot of it was about not having guilt, leaning on community for support and the communities come up a lot. I think most of my really good writer friends, I did not actually meet. I mean, I met some lovely people through Writers Atelier. It's a
Hmm.
great community.
Hmm.
And Taylor and I actually attended some of the events together. But Taylor Simons and then my friend Elizabeth Starling, her debut's coming
Hmm.
out this year. When I met them, we were not really like published authors
Hmm.
together. Like Taylor was working on her first book, her idea for it, and then Elizabeth, in the past couple years, has started her author journey. So I think you just like find genuine people that you have like really strong mutual respect for. You have like
Hmm.
you can creatively vibe. Um, and those are going to be the people who I think are really cheering you on for your journey and it's yeah, I don't know, you just make
Hmm. Yeah.
genuine good friends, which is hard to do, but
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. Well, and
Yeah.
it's I used to run the writers group at Writers Block Bookstore.
Okay,
And then
cool.
when I left said bookstore, the writers group kind of made the decision to come with me, which was really lovely of them.
Nice.
But now it's gotten to the point where, through like my actual job of teaching and, all the rest of it, like it's harder and harder to meet with that community in person.
Hmm.
So I think it's pretty awesome that you have maintained this community through all the different iterations of your publishing journey and your personal journey, and all the rest. Like, I find that really admirable that you've been able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I just really it's funny that it's like some of the friends I didn't even meet through writing groups, just through
Mhm.
life and vibing together, and they've
Yeah.
become some of my best author friends in the world. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's not always it's sometimes in unexpected places, I guess is
Hmm.
what. Yeah, they're great. I'm happy to have them.
Oh, well, I'm very happy that Taylor introduced us to you because, again, I reached out to her just because I know that she also used to work at Writer's Block and kind of thing. So it's really nice getting to know the Orlando community a little bit better. That, hopefully someday when I publish, I can reach out to all of you guys for a book release party
Yes,
tips,
please.
Yes.
Yeah.
If a writer listening to this podcast was going to take one piece of advice away from you, what would you want it to be?
Oh, that's so that is that oh, it's not scary.
It's
That's
not
that's
scary.
a
You got this.
okay. I think right now we live in a time where everything can feel really rushed. It
Mhm.
feels like we don't have there's not time to get through this round of edits. It needs to get published right now. There isn't time to do a revision. There isn't time for beta readers. It feels like everything's moving fast and we want to like capitalize on some moment. If we don't have our book on the shelves like tomorrow, it's I don't know. There's a lot of pressure to get things done really instantly and really quick. And I've felt that personally just in having like a little over a year between releases, which is not that much time, but
Mm-mm.
it feels like you want to just have the next book out
Mhm.
as soon as possible. And I think giving yourself time to breathe, knowing that like you do have time, you can work slowly. It doesn't have to be tomorrow that you're turning something in. Deadlines make things a little spicier, but when you're drafting, you can let the story breathe. You can let the story form. You can give yourself that time to background process. Taylor is someone who's always reminding me that of like you have time, you don't need to rush. And I'm really glad that that's advice I hear externally because with the book I'm working on, the Swamp Monster one, if I would have published the draft that it was a year ago, which I found recently while I was cleaning, it was printed, would have been an entirely different book.
Mhm.
And it wouldn't have been a bad book, but it wouldn't have been the story that it's become, which has turned into something I'm really, really proud of. And I think has a lot of emotional depth. And I'm like tearing up thinking about just like
Oh,
how this story in like the course of a year has really changed and become so real. And
Mhm.
it wouldn't have happened if I would have let that time, the pressure to get something out, the pressure to get something out now, or you'll lose momentum, you'll lose the moment. Like you need to jump on it right now. We can breathe, we can create, we can kind of take it back to this space where we didn't feel like things just had to happen so instantly. I don't know.
Mhm.
I feel like I sound like that. I wish I could tie that together in a better way because I sounded like I sounded 80 years old. Like things don't have to
No.
happen so quick.
No. It
I
was
beautiful
beautiful.
and felt very targeted at me.
Oh no,
I
Yes, I was gonna say
appreciate
it's
it.
literally advice that both Maddie and I really
it's
needed to
advice I
hear.
need. Taking it back
Yeah.
to that motivational minute of what do I need to hear right now? Because I'm
Yeah.
constantly like, oh, I wish that this was ready. I wish it was ready
Hmm.
Yeah.
tomorrow. What if I stay up all night and just finish it? I'm like, no, no,
Yep.
just breathe.
I'm Abigail.
And I'm Maddie, and this has been
Two writers.
Many Wrongs.